Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
I hope I open your eyes to the dimension of life. Life as a holistic life of your soul, which is part of the structure of the universe, not life as part of the physicality, which is part of the structure of this planet. And then we understand what the next step be if we are not prejudiced, if we are not misguided, if we are not narrow-minded, just to keep to understand what is here, I leave the rest to my soul when I'm gone. Then you find out you have a lot to learn to get to that point. I hope, as usual, I open another door, a crack in the wall, that it brings down all the misguided understanding of the past, and you become to enlighten yourself. If you listen, which is beautiful every time I hear it, to the disclaimer of every teaching, embedded in it, in the word of it, in the ethos of it, it keeps on telling you, this is individual cases. It's your job to investigate independently, to peer review if what they did suits me, if it's correct to me. It's not just for your illness, it's for the illness of your mind, your understanding of your own world of creation. And then you understand, even each intro gives you what I call independently, you decide. Does this fit me? Do I understand it where I missed? And does it go according to my intelligence? This is why we never have a peer review, because in the word of the disclaimer, it's your job to investigate to your understanding, and it befits you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 576 Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 6, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I will be host once again in this wonderful weekly series of workshops. And once again, we have the pleasure of the presenter being Mr. Mehran T. Keshe once again. And thank you, Mr. Keshe, for being here for yet another of the Knowledge Seekers workshops. And we expect you will bring us more knowledge and information as we go through. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, whenever and wherever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. As usual, we are back and we try to understand more in the riddles of the creation and the created, and how from creation we become created, and what is the mechanism as we dig deeper in the knowledge of the creation. One of the most important parts of the creation and created is connection link, as we talked last week, in how interaction of the fields, amalgamation of the fields, leads to creation. In the world of science and in the world of mystery of science of today, we have always considered the interaction of two matter leading to division, leading to creation of fractions and frictions and the rest of it. In nuclear industry, we say if we hit nucleus, or we call it energy transfer or nuclear decay, leading to fragments and release of energies, or shrapnels if you hit a matter with another matter. And on the other hand, we have made it the holy grail of the science, what happened when we hit them together and they become bigger or release energies to become something else. In a way, we call it a fusion. Fusion has become a holy grail, and in the past few weeks we've seen Chinese being flagged as passing the understanding, and they have managed to hold on to the fusion for a few more seconds than the others, and they have come up with all these crazy ideas of needing what we call all sorts of equipment with a high levels to create that fusion. And as I always said, fusion is a dream. The way the man has taken it, that will never come true. The reality is that the life of the man, the life of the universe, is made out of fusion. In the matter state of the man, creating fusion and hoping and releasing megawatts and gigawatts of energy, so much temperature of the center of the sun, shows the lack of understanding of the world of science of today. If you look at it, if you understand the world of fusion in the energy level, it's much, much simpler than creating fusion in the matter state. Ray of the light of the creator in its simplicity in interacting with the division of itself in the fusion of plasmas and energies, has led to creation of everything else. It is not that energy of the creator or magnetic field in motion, it was so powerful and now as it's dividing, it becomes matter. It's absolutely the opposite way. In releasing its fields in the environment and the interaction of these fields with each other and the amalgamation of the fields, fusion of the fields as an energy has led to creation of even the hydrogen, even the first neutron, as what we call it, and the rest. What this brings to front, and for most of the knowledge seekers, is the understanding of the what I call fusion of fields, fusion of energies in motion, which leads to creation of the next level. And understanding how the energy of the plasma needs to be added in a specific way that it leads to creation of higher order magnetic field strength collection of fields. It has to be understood by the world of science that the neutron, which is the highest collection of the fields, is the maximum amount of energy in this universe which can be as one package. Today's teaching is for the world of science, even though as knowledge seekers you hear and hear me and understand part of it. But the teaching of today is for the future scientists, for those who come to explore the universe and come to understand the truth, the understanding and the working of the universe, as today this knowledge is abstract, is not there, it cannot be understood. Even maybe some of you understand, and the futures of the science of the space technology of the man will appreciate the teaching of today as a what I call the first brick on the knowledge, understanding of the working of the universe. What does this mean? If you look right across the whole structure of the science of the man, look at as a neutron, electron, a proton, an atom, molecules, and everything else which goes in it. Be it gold, be it hydrogen, be it plutonium, be it other elements which the man will discover in the future, which is not in the spectrum of the energies of the today of this planet, but on other positions, man will find elements with 500 neutrons and 10,000 electrons and the rest of it. But if you put all of them together, the heaviest elements man ever finds and the lightest element man will ever find cannot be more than the energy compacts of a neutron as a fundamental basis of what I call creation of matter. What does this mean? You look at, let's say, helium. You have so many electrons, so many neutrons, so many protons. Again, neutron is a fundamental on the highest level energy. The rest is the packages of the collection of the energy of the 2 or 3 or 10 neutrons and electrons and protons. So the fundamental element, the fundamental what we call plasma, the maximum amount any element in this universe can carry is not more than what is in the neutron. So man of the science have to find the process of the creation in what is within the neutron. And if they don't understand this, we have the dilemmas of today. The cornerstone of the teaching from the first book, which has been laid down as the fundamental of the science of the numerous space technology, is neutron, collection of interaction of the fields. In a way, nothing can be bigger than, nothing can be more effective than a neutron. Because you put 20 neutrons together, 100 neutrons together, and then the space gap they create leads to accommodation of the protons, that they can give a higher energy to a lower energy. Then in that transfer of the energy from neutron to proton allows for the electron to contain and maintain its motion and everything else. What does this mean? For the first time in the world of nuclear physics, for the first time in atomic physics, we have to understand where the energy of an atom comes from. A fundamental atom which contains an electron, a proton, and a neutron. The actual energy of atom comes from transfer of the energy from neutron, higher field content, to the proton. And what is left of this interaction, electron collects and allows it to create its motion. This is the fundamental engine of the operation of an atomic structure. And this is what the world of science up to today has not understood, does not even exist in the vocabulary of the man, science, and technology of today. And when man understands this principle of the creation of the third energy in a way, in principle, by interaction of the fields of the two energy packs, then we understand how electron is created, how electron is maintained, and how electron can, in a way, move around its principal element. And when we have a system like a hydrogen, which is only in what we call neutron, proton, and electron, or we go back into the isotopes of it, the same principle applies. When you have a proton and an electron, we call it the basic hydrogen. The energy of the hydrogen comes from the center, from the proton. When we talk about deuterium, then this process is totally different, because now whatever released from neutron, which is absorbed by the proton, and the interaction of the two fields with each other is collected by the electron, which gives it the dimension of its motion. Then you understand even why we come to the heavier elements and we find more neutrons, because more energy is needed to maintain, to interact with the protons, to position the electrons in the what we call distance from the center. And this is what fundamentally the world of science have not understood. The principle behind the motion, distance, position of an electron in respect to its nucleus. And once man understands this, man will unravel the mystery of the creation. But for that, man needs to understand the inner structure of the neutron, which comes from the division, interaction, fraction and friction within it, and with interaction with its environment outside. If one day man extends the knowledge of looking at the structure, energy packs of a neutron, what man sees is what man sees on the surface of the sun. Bursting of energies, continuous motion of the fields, and there is no difference. When I look at a neutron, as a nuclear physicist, I don't see something which is just there. I see the surface of the sun. The same interactions, the same commotion of the motion of the fields, the same surface. And As we see, the way the energy of the sun is released in bursts on a continuous basis that interacts with the Earth and the rest of the solar system, this is what the neutron does within the center of a nucleus. And when you understand this, that the division and interaction of these fields emitted from the neutron will lead to creation of other structures outside it, then man comes to understand more about the world of creation. In the simple physics of today, they show us a proton and a neutron and an electron, and this is an atom. In fact, this is far from reality. If you look at the neutron as the sun, as the center of energy, and proton as the earth, and then you look at the electron as the moon, what do we see? Is our atmosphere clear? Is there nothing between earth and the sun and the earth and the moon? We see cosmic dust. We see meteorites. We see elements in the fields moving across the solar system, and it's the same within the structure of the atomic structure. And these fractions and these meteorites at the atomic level is exactly the same as what we have in the solar system. And it's the same with our solar system in respect to the other solar system and in respect to the center of galaxy and the center of universe. Our solar system, in interaction with another solar system, in their magnetic field and the strength, create the cosmic dust, create the creation of the fields and matter in between, that most of these are an energy pack. This is what we call viruses. And this is the whole discussion of today, which means these energy packs within the structure of the galaxies, the structure of solar systems, the structure of the atom is all the same. Once man understands the principle of creation of the fields packages, and then understand that these amalgamation, fusion of energy leads to the condition of a higher energy packs, which in turn man calls it from hydrogen to gold and plutonium, is the process of understanding of the creation. We didn't rain energy from outside to come in to create the matter. Within the energy within radiating out and attraction, we create the matter. This is why in the fundamental understanding of creation, we always said the creator is in the center. But on the other hand, we say his love reigns upon us. Once man understand the interaction of the fields within and outside leads to creation of two different conditions, one is higher than the other, which comes a plasma to the inner and not to the outer as a matter, then man understands the process of the creation of the true fusion from the interaction of the fields of the same within the center. The process of the creation, the process that from the creator to created. As I understand, and as explained as a nuclear physicist, as a plasma physicist, as a man who understands the process of the interaction of the fields of the smallest to the universe, to the unicos, it becomes important for what are called the scientists of today and tomorrow to walk away from fusion matter. If they in reality want to get to the energy fields of the universe. The energy within one neutron is more than all that is in all the nuclear fusions of the man and nuclear power stations of the man of today. But man has not learned how to unravel it. Man has not understood the process of it. Man has not understood that neutron with the fields inside it interacts and creates its own matter. And with the stupidity of the science of today, they call it up crock, down crock, and everything else they like to. But what man sees in the structure of the what we call a solar system is what happens within the neutron. Interaction of the fields leads to creation of the fields, and that interaction of the fields, in turn releasing energies, leads to the creation and dimension of the motion of the proton, and then itself, by interacting with itself, leads to creation of its child and maintaining the life of the child, which is the proton. Then you understand the totality of the science of the creation and the science of the future have to look within the structure of the neutron to understand the structure of the creation and the creator. What does this mean? Inside the neutron, the elements which are created from the lower level energy interaction of itself with itself, which in the fusion of energy, they allow the creation manifestation of the matter state with their interaction with the energy leads to release of the fields of the energy which maintains the life of the neutron. A question which I put to my professors and scientists years ago, and maybe some of you as knowledge seekers can answer today, is one fact. Is there any difference in the temperature of the surface of a neutron and the surface of the sun? This is not the riddle, this understanding the science. In fact, the true energy surface, not the matter surface of a neutron and a sun, is exactly the same. What matter field condition appears due to interaction of the field by its self fields leads to creation of heat. And this is where the man has gone wrong and sees that the center of the sun is 100 million degrees and 1 billion degrees, and all the fallacies as the man did when he said the earth is the center of the universe. Man is physical and looks at the matter state, the world of creation. The principal order of creation comes from the transfer, interaction of the, not the matter state, but the fields and energies. This is why the Chinese are spending billions and the Americans say they're going to do this and that, because they, as usual, look at the physical appearance, but they don't understand the knowledge inside. If scientists of the future understand this, they have, in a way, jumped by thousands of years in understanding more about the knowledge of creation. And as long as they spend billions looking at the surface, they will never understand the true work of the fusion in the energy level, what we call magnetic field in motion, which has no temperature. This is why the air above Earth is freezing, because it has no temperature. It's a plasmatic field. What they call minus 273, the zero, is the temperature working of what we call universe. Interaction of the fields does not create heat. It creates clusters of other plasmas of different order depending on the gravitational magnetic field plasma strength within the area. If scientists understand this in the future, then they understand how to handle energy packs on their body, what we call viruses. The viruses of plasma as a magnetic field in motion, when the man travels with the dimension of the soul, is 1,000 times worse, millions of times worse by the magnitude than the viruses which affect the physicality of the man today on this planet. Because there is no matter state, is the principle of the creation which interacts with the matching field, the strength of itself in a different strength order. If the science of today, as I've said many times, understand that the viruses are energy packs which attach to matter state, which is the molecular structure of the amino acid of the man, and then we see how they kill, and then those who never understand this create the vaccines and create all sorts of rubbish with it, understand how to handle the viruses as an energy pack in the packages of interaction with another package of the fields which the maximum energy of is a neutron, then man will be able to handle any virus anywhere in the universe, even within the structure of the creator, which is part of the creation. In the world of science, it has to be understood. You cannot be bigger than the energy pack of a neutron. And then if you understand this, this is the limitation of the manifestation in the matter state, not the limitation in the structure of the world of the creation. That virus energy at the end has to attach itself to one which matches within the neutron. If man becomes wise, he'll use this transfer of energy for its own benefit as food, as everything else he needs to survive in the span of the universe. We have seen this. We have seen this structure in the Corona crisis. And I explained that many times before, where the energy of the virus in depleting to the level of the energy of the amino acid in interaction with its principal energy, which is its neutron, becomes food for the body and recovery. This is why those of you who use gases recovered so fast or maintain your recovery, because in a way you chopped it up, you use the energy of the virus as a food. That's all you did. That's what your gases did, because your body has a physical interaction and the gases are in the energy pack on your surface. They just gobbled it up. They just broke it up to pieces. It used as energy. And this is why when we used what we call the gases in the corona, we saw two temperatures. One, when the body was affected, and when the gases took the energy and what we call matter state damaged cells came to recover, and we saw the second rise in temperature, physical recovery. And that point, when the physical recovery came in, the energy from what you put as gases in interaction, draining the energy of the plasma of the virus, became the food, and you recovered. There is no need to take God knows what and take so what. In the coming year, we release the effect of the energy packs of the what we call specific energy plasma that will replace the present what we call injections and everything else which is man has created but not understanding the whole structure. You don't in the future need to immunize your child for this virus and that virus. You understand the process, you create the energy packs which can handle the virus. Does not matter what age and which in the world part of the universe you are, and you are handling your life. In a matter state, as a body of the man, in a matter state, in another position as a body of an alien, or within the structure of the transfer of your, what we call, energy center as a soul. If man understands this, he'll find out that in the universe, the most biggest packages of energy, or what you call viruses, are actually the food resources. These are the, what we call, the structure of life. You tap into it, there are reservoirs of energy, and as their size goes, as the strength field goes, they have enough to supply the whole of the created in their environment. Then we see the viruses as energy source and not as a matter of what we call damage, death, and the rest of it. But you have to understand, the plasma of a virus, energy pack, cannot interact not more than what is within the neutron. Which means energy of a neutron has enough capability to stand the total package energy strength of a plasma of a virus. Does not matter where in the universe. The whole fundamental understanding is that a neutron as an energy pack does not get gobbled up or get delivered into the plasma of the virus. But in understanding it, it depletes its energy. It absorbs energy. And the interaction of the two, in a way, is like the sun and the earth. Creates lights, creates energy, fractions of energy that the body can take as food. This is the cornerstone of feeling and soul of the man in travels in space. Even the man in a physical condition. Then if you understand this, understand the principle of the creation of amalgamation of the fields, what we call fusion of the plasmas as an energy, not fusion of plasmas as what man is trying to do to amalgamate to whatever, neutrons, electrons, whatever they imagine to create heat and energy. Man is eating food by turning it around his head and trying to feed the same mouth, because he has not understood the principle of feeding itself straight. This is the principle behind many operations of the Keshe Foundation in coming months in the Friday teachings every month. Training your body to tap into universal energy through the structure of the neutron, which in part is within the plasma energy of your body, which is the calcium based. Man will find out in the deeper space, the only time which will run into solidification is when it's what we call neutron energy plasma matches calcium, when he travels in a physical dimension. Because in a way, goes back to the teaching that 80% of your life is your existence. In the very recent pictures, which we have seen from the world of science, confirms and brings this back to total reality. And that is, man can live, elements can live, and then solidify at a given field strength. What does this mean? In the future of time, in the future of expansion of the science of the man, man will come to understand one principle, and that is, man needs to understand the creation and created within each other. And what is important for mankind to understand in the field of science is, in fact, to understand the process of conversion from the energy into matter state, but understanding within the physical body of the man, you have a reference point of inertia of matter. You call it your bone structure, you call it the calcium, you call it whatever else you need to call, but in fact, you cannot escape from it. Then the biggest problem for man to survive in space is to get rid of, or in a way change the field strength, that nothing changes into matter state condition inertia. There's a picture somewhere on the internet that explains this very clearly. And for you to understand, I put it up on the screen to see. I've shown this to a few knowledge seekers very recently because it's time for you to understand. If you look at this picture, what do you see? Even within and above the central line, what I call in this area, let me change it that you can see it easier. If I move this and show you this, as I've said to knowledge seekers before, what do you see? And what do you understand from this picture in understanding the totality? The yellow part is a bone of the man. This yellow part, what I call the yellow part, is your bone. And the interesting about this is that you have to understand how this has come. And what you see as these spots, you see many of them. These are energy packs which have converted to matter state through the calcium calcification. The bone is pulling them in. And in that position, the bone has become the inertia mass. This picture is actually, for those of you who've seen it or shown before, or you see it, this is a person who has eaten pork, uncooked. And in that process has picked up the what we call bodies of, or parasites of, what's in the meat into his body. And in these parasites moving through the lining of the stomach, but getting into the muscle tissue through lymph, they have changed into matter state and they don't exist. But what you see as a white spot is the calcium of the body calcification. So in a way, every white spot you see on this is the matter state of a parasite, which is calcium has left within the tissue of the man. You see this even in the bone marrow. When they died, you see a white spot. So every spot you see on this picture is one man calcification or one parasite calcification. And when this sits in your brain, you get Alzheimer's. When it sits in your brain, you get Parkinson. When this calcification sits further, then it creates other problems. This is what has been written in the holy books. Don't eat pork, because it carries a virus which leads to this. And the knowledge given to those you call man of wisdom or a wise man understood some of this problem. And this is in fact what's going to happen to you in the space. If you don't understand, and in the process of creation, you become a plasma in a space, and these matter state fields, inertia created within you, then it creates mayhem within the structure of the plasma of what we call the central energy of the man, the soul of the man. So the viruses are not exclusivity of the matter state. The viruses even exist in the energy states, and depends when they manifest themselves in the matter state within the plasma. Man has to understand this, that he can survive the span of the universe in the matter state of the body or in the matter state of the energy we call the soul of the man. And in a way, what you see as these white spots, when it transferred into the energy of the man in space, and then in the right condition, turned up to be the disease of the man to kill. And in fact, the operation of the plasma of the soul, what it will interact with in the future. The soul of the man carries this energy. And this is the reason why we want to change the man before we take the man into space as what we call part of the family. This is the disease which man carries in the structure of the field of the plasma of his emotion, and in the structure of the film of the plasma of its physicality, and the soul of physicality which has interacted as energy part into the soul of the man, and the soul of the man in space has created this problem. And this is the reason we teach to change the man, to get rid of these killing systems, which is inherently as emotion sits within the structure of his existence. In understanding this, in understanding the totality of the creation, man should be able to understand about everything in the world of creation. The energies for creation come within by what we call amalgamation of the plasmatic fields, and they come from out from the interaction of the plasmatic fields. In the center of the neutron, we don't have in energy packs fission, but we have fusion, where fission sits outside in the matter state. And the world of science has to understand this. One of the main principles of this, and I've explained before, is that within the plasma, we don't see any AC, we don't see any frequency, we don't see any vibration, as the interactions are at the energy level. Where the frequency comes outside when the interaction of the fields creates that, interacts with the matter state. In the reactors we run, in the laboratory, when the dimension of the plasma which creates motion and field, we don't see any frequency, we only see AC. And when at a point comes to confirm interaction and existence with the matter outside, we see frequencies. This is the hidden knowledge that the man has to understand. And Once men understand this, they don't need multi-trillion, billion investments in what I call fusion technology. As I've said before, the difference between the man of peace is development of the man. And the man of war always is in conflict and it loses to itself. I said very recently, and I repeat again for those who don't understand. They tell us why China is progressing so fast and why America has been doldrums and God knows everything else with the wars. China spends its energy in developing a nation. America spends its energy and finance in creating wars. Inside, look good, but dilapidated. The other looks good from inside, and the outside does not understand why. It's the behavior that we have to understand. And that behavior comes within Taoism of the Chinese mentality. And this is how the soul of the man works. From outside, we look at China and we say, look, they build this, they build that, because they don't invest in war. They invest in peace for the nation. And it's the same within the plasma of the man. And it's the target of all the teachings that elevate the soul of the man to become peaceful within. And if you understand this, you understand the totality of the creation. What you spend inside brings elevation. What you try to get to outside brings friction and manifestation of the what we call conformation of existence. And the creator always looks within because it's more important than what's outside. And that energy and that structure, there is no way, nowhere in this universe you'll find any energy higher than energy of a neutron. Amalgamation of the fields of neutrons lead to creation of matter state outside, but within is strong enough to hold on to all the creation. It holds on and deals with all the created too. An electron and a proton and a neutron in an atom, or that neutron in a stone, or that neutron in a planetary system, still is neutron. But it holds its position because it's strong enough within its strength to hold on that the base does not collapse, that the rest does not disappear. When you read with what I explained go back to the first book, then you look at the fundamental plasma, a neutron, in a totally different way. And then when you read the book again, understanding this, the essence of the creation, through the fields of the creator, will open up to you. And I keep on saying, you understand from my teaching according to your intelligence. Now I've raised your intelligence to understand a bit more. Go and read the book number 1 again and see what the mystery of creation is hidden in its writing. There is nothing in the universe bigger, stronger, containing everything it needs than a neutron. But look at the energy and not look at the matter. Understand the fundamental fields and their interaction that led to its creation and how it maintains itself. If you want to understand how this creation is created, it's a very beautiful way to do it. But observe the energy, not the matter. Make yourself a liquid dough and boil some water. Put the dough in a sieve and let it drip in the boiling water or in the hot oil, and see how little balls appear, all the same size, all the same way. And this is how the love of Creator is created. The boiling water is the universe, and that dough is the love of Creator, and how it drips, and all is the same across. Because that sieve all has exactly the same dimension hole. And that hole is the size that the field, the size of a neutron, can exist within this universe. And in essence, an energy has to be the same in all the universes, otherwise one will dominate the others. Even though the size of the neutrons in different universes could be different, but in energy, what we call compactness and content, they're all the same. But according to the environment of the universe, they run on a different field, radiation, magnetic energy fields, and that's the only difference between the universes. And once the man understands this, transmutation across the unicos become as easy as walking down the road. The fundamental principle of understanding the structure of the neutron and how it, by transfer of its fields, creates, maintains, and supports, then you understand why even a neutron splits and it goes through its decay. And what does that decay means? Decay forced or decay within? Because now I can, the smaller me is the same as me, and it grows to be me. When a neutron splits in a matter state, it's another neutron and a proton, and the fraction is the electrons. You don't get another neutron coming taking its place. That new less of in time gains enough energy by the interaction of to become the neutron, and it contains exactly as the mother. I explained this once before and maybe understood in a way. If you get an iron which carries magnetic fields as a magnet, you cut the magnet in pieces, each piece has its same strength. So is the splitting of a neutron. Still, does not matter how you cut a plasma, carries the energy fields of the fundamental principle of its structure. And then if you understand this, you come to a point as if this neutron is what it is and contains everything, and interaction of its fields leads to creation of manifestation of what we see, then aren't we all as the being, all the stars within one neutron, what we call the Creator? And then it brings one fundamental principle. Even that itself has to have a common within unicos, within the structure of the neutron of all the universes, and all has to be of the same common denominator, field strength, as the creator, that he can stand the position and distance, he can stand the love and the creation. I hope the science of the future understand the knowledge of today, that with it allows them to become the man of unicorns. As I said, there shall be no more teachers. And with this teaching, we complete the teachings of the whole lot. But for those who are nuclear physicists of the man, if they understand this, they walk from the shambles of the matter state, billions of dollars investments to create a fusion, this heat of the center of the sun, because they never understood the center of the sun has the same temperature and conditions as the center of the earth, as the center of a neutron. I made man in the image of myself. I made the universe in the image of myself. The creator is not hot-tempered, and it doesn't sweat and create heat as we see on the surface of the sun. As within is as beautiful as itself, the energy fields of the neutron. If you understand the structure of the neutron as a nuclear physicist, me, you will marvel in how the creator has fooled the man to think he is the clever of the all. And in fact, as long as a man follows the fusion pattern of today, it shows his absolute stupidity and the lack of knowledge of understanding the creation and the creator and the work of the universe. Beauty of the creation is in coolness and in calmness, not in its eruption and in its behavior, energetic. Man looks at the heat of the sun, creates nothing but fallacies. The creator looks at within the sun and creates the beauty of the creation. Man is physical, creator is a field plasma. I hope the scientists of future understand the teaching of today. As I said, we teach the full spectrum from now on, that the man becomes a man of the universe and understand the totality. We go for a break and we come back, and as usual, we try to answer the questions. Rick, would you like to take us for a break?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right. Take a few minutes off here and be back in with the second half of our show. So just to let our attendees that don't know, you can raise your virtual hands in the second part and be able to ask a question directly of Mr. Keshe, or you can put questions also in the chat or in the Q&A here in Zoom or in the chat in YouTube. All right. Be back shortly.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
Okay, here we are back again at the second part of our show here at the 576th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 6, 2025. Well, Mr. Keshe, is there some things you'd like to say before we get into questions?
Yes, as usual, we always have something to say. There is a development in the Keshe Foundation, which a lot of you are participating in, and we learn from it. And as I said, usually people pay for research, and then they influence how the research outcome is. With you, you pay for the research, and we see what you make as an outcome. The sessions of 14th of November, or February, sorry, is very important to us because we fingerprint your progress from last 18 months and how you will, or you have progress in development of a soul. And in a way, it should give us indication which of you who've been with us in so many ways are building up or going to the direction of the transmutation. These are important for gathering information and knowledge, and many of you come the first time to see the structure of your soul. Then this becomes a reference for the future, which allows us to see when and how we can bring a system that allows you to transmute. This gives us a fundamental point of the structures of your field of strength. And I think in the future, it will be very much like you're going to a driving school, and then the teacher says you're ready to, you learn enough to go sit for a test and become a driver on the street. It's the same way. From what we've seen from the what I call the raw material, which were some people for us in the past 2 weeks who never had any contact with the Keshe Foundation, never been through the process, and then we put them through a process of a few hours, a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then we saw how the system has changed and developed, and then talking to them how their emotion has changed in respect to the system. So those of you who joining us next Friday, and you've been there before, we have a reference benchmark for your energy pack. And those of you who want to join for the benchmark for the future, what we call test, it's good to understand that in this process, in next Friday, we bring in elements of emotion, which is very important because in a way, it's important to understand how we can elevate your soul energy, you call it, in accordance to energy packs which we designed as an emotion to create that condition of transmutation. You create the emotion of I want to go, it brings you to a level that allows your what the conversion or interaction to transmute. You want to go to the airport, you plan it. You pack a suitcase, you buy a ticket, you go to the airport, you catch a metal bird. In the world of transmutation, you need the same kind of preparation to transfer enough energy that the energy of the soul manages, becomes then the energy of the what I call transmutation, that you can surpass the energy of the matter state. So you have to prepare for it. You have to learn how to do it. Some of us will do it like a helicopter, take off and go. Some of us need a runway to get ready to go. and we're creating that runway till you become the pilots of what I call the helicopter that you can take off directly. But again, even that needs preparation. So next week is important for us, as many of you joined us 18 months ago for the first time, and those of you who come in for benchmarking for the future. We understand this, and we need this to be done. So when you come next Friday on the Valentine's Day for the what you call it, the autograph of your energy center, come in with the peace of mind that you're there to enjoy this time you're dating with the Creator. There is no other lover. You, in a way, to see how you react in respect to the universe, universal energies, and when and how you'll be prepared, and you are prepared to take off and to be there to do. And the only way is done with the giving and the loving. And we would like to see how much you've learned in the past 18 months with us. And in a way, the school is ready to take you to the next time. Bring with you only and only if you have gases of zinc with nothing in it, and the gases of zinc and CO2 with amino acid equal balance. And then during the session, we tell you what to do and how to do it. Make 2 containers of each in a bottle, whatever you can hold in your hands, preferably glass, that there is no addition of the what I call carbon from a plastic or whatever containers. And then we'll have a wonderful time to see the actual pure side of your feelings and how you can create a condition of emotion. It'll be very interesting. We won't give more than short times to everyone to be there, but the limited number of people will go through this, will see the dimension of your soul this time, and the dimension of your physicality and solar physicality, and it gives us a good indication if you're getting ready to go. And we build it up that way. On the other hand, in respect to the other aspects of the Keshe Foundation technology, a new system has been put out, which we put out for sale before Christmas. It's a single plasma unit on its own. This single plasma unit and what we call the pack with a headphone and what we call the blue units have been upgraded in a very specific way, which a lot of it should leave next week or so, that the system has a very, very specific characteristics, which we will promote it in a upcoming time, where when you receive these new systems, we have to teach you how to use it. And the way to do it is, we never put this out. It's the first time it's going out. And a lot of you are going to use it in conjunction with your, what do you call, in your teaching sessions, which some groups have started. And what is important to do with this, trying to get a whiteboard to explain to you what is to come. Let me get a whiteboard. Up to now, you had a simple maggraph system, which you used. The new system is different than what you had before. Your maggraph system sits like this. In the other system which you had, you have 2 patches which you put your hand on. with a new system which you leave as the twin systems, the structure is different and is set especially for a specific reason. In this new twin system, you have two set of patches. Your unit has an indicator like this. When you sit in front of these units, you can hold your hand in combination of ways. You can hold like this. You can hold like this. I have to wipe this out. You hold like this. You can hold in any combination as you like. Or even you can do it what I call face to face. What you have to do, within you have to understand which combination gives you the elevation of your physicality, perception, which combination gives you the what we call elevation in the energy of the soul, and in which way, if I call this one one, let me do it this way. If I call this one 1 and this position 2, if you are in a position of 2 and 1, your units are indicated. Your unit has the 4 patches on it, and this will bring you a new dimension to understand how your energy center works, how in a way your sort of physicality works, and in a way how your physicality works. We never done this before. We never produced this system before, and the next cycle of these will increase the prices because of what the new system brings in. But what is important for those who have already purchased, when you receive your package, especially in the teachings in the German and the Austrian sessions, which is coming up, which these units are going into, you got to understand, you do not give these boxes to other people to test, because it's part of connecting with you. It's part of the structure which teaches you to understand yourself, to understand the energies within you and across you. And those of you who are especially in the Austrian, group, every single individual has a name engraved on it. Do not give it to somebody else. This, in a way, becomes part of the structure of you within you. And I developed this one in the past week or so to push the boundaries further for you to know yourself. These units, what we call replication of you, does not need, in a way, anything else except connection of you with the central position of the system. And if you understand this, when you get these, what we call systems, try to feed back to us how you felt, how you do, how is in your groups, what was the reaction. and how people feel when they go home, when they use it after a week, what the family sees in behavior, what the family sees in response to the what we call interaction with the field. This is then in the future cycles of development of this, will show you how these can be used in a very easy way in conjunction with our central systems as for many other applications, your feeding and the rest of it. In a way, it's your satellite unit to the systems, the future units, not these, to serving stations or for communication. And we explain this in a coming time. But if you go on the Keshe Foundation website, this unit was put on just before Christmas. It's a single individual unit, and then you will see it as it comes out. As those of you who organize these groups, be careful how you handle this, and make sure the unit is given to the person and you're touched by the person individually, because it's already active. And our people will write the name of the person on the box. If you're buying it for a family, 3 or 4 or 2 of you, husband and wife, you'll be indicated individually. This is part of the process of you to learn into and come into the process of the interaction of the fields in the coming time. I can't remember what these units have been called on the store, but it's a single unit, was just put around November. I think it's called Plasma Interactive Units or whatever. On the other hand, I was told by our team that those of you who use the soaps, new range of soaps will be launched in the next few weeks because of the success and results people have seen. And partially part of the soaps will be introduced very soon. That is, we call it the soap of vision. We would like to see how you react and how will influence in seeing the world using this soap. And in the next few weeks, a lot of materials like this will come. It's mainly we are looking for environmental interaction, like we developed a special coasters, which when you put your, this is not a normal coaster, you want to know how it changes your diabetic, how it interacts with your, what do you call it, emotion of diabetic, because we are not there to change anything, but we are there to see how creates emotional and how you feel with it. And then like what we had, like your pressure cups and the sugar cups, there'll be pressure pads and sugar pads and the rest of it. And then you'll see a new range of pads, which what we call coasters type thing, that putting across the what we call environment of the room will change your emotions. How it'll bring other conditions into play. As I said, we are in the process of a massive launch of the Keshe Foundation internationally due to what we call development. And be very much aware, as I said before, when these things come out, use it to unite your families, not to justify you being around or supporting the Keshe Foundation. Use it as a pleasure, as a gift, not as a tool to become humans like before. I knew, I know. Use it as now is to all of us. And let it learn from their, what I call fields of thoughts. It's very important, because in conjunction with what is going on, and what we will see will come out in the next few weeks on what we call the Keshe Foundation internationally. It'll affect all of you as knowledge seekers. Interaction with your friends and families and those who want to know more. Be humble and stay in a way to teach. That's the whole purpose of the Keshe Foundation. To share that we learn more and we teach more, and in a way we create more. More peace, more understanding in science and technology and the rest of it. Any questions? Would you like to take over the screen, please?
Sure. Yes, indeed, we have some questions here. Let me see where to start. Let's start with our chat. We had a couple of questions in the early part of sorry, not too long ago in the chat from Stefania. We have a question regarding the sessions that you were mentioning, Mr. Keshe. Stefania says, I had a knowledge seeker that would like to be present to the next session, but she doesn't know what she needs to have as equipment. How many headphones or which positions to put them in, and what you need to join the session, where to find the info of what to bring as equipment.
As usual, you receive an email, and in that email tells you what you need. Those of you who have registered, you receive an email. It's the usual way we communicate through that email. You're told what to bring to the session. And just follow the instruction on emails, because this 14th is different than the 21st. And we send this information by emails on the day or the night before the session.
Should they prepare by having a couple of earphones and
the usual standard will come with your headphones and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
The usual procedure. Have your headphones, have your ganses, as we said, ready. And then we do the same the following week on 21st.
Arjan had a question in YouTube. Do the participants have to stay at home during the sessions? I responded, you don't need to stay at home, but you must be in a quiet environment because your microphone will be open and sounds shouldn't disturb others.
We just close, and actually in one of the trials, we close one participant full time from having their microphone open, but they could be part of. And we do that quite a lot in the big sessions. People making noise, we just switch them off in a way from the microphone, but the headphone is open. And it's amazing where we had a small group and we get a response. We all knew whose microphone was switched off in that session. And the results were amazing from our data, what we gathered in the background and how the situation was. And then when we talked to the person, the information was given is just like a half cooked, because the other half they could not give, they just received. And they could not, in a way, download or give back whatever wasn't needed. Then it was very interesting to hear. So I call it, because we have this quite often in teaching, particularly in the sessions, people who make a lot of noise or people just fall asleep and this snores doesn't let others, so we just switch their microphone off. but you still receive the information and the knowledge through your headphones. But in a way, you cannot link it complete on your mechanical system, but your soul does with the system, and it's very interesting. What we'll do some most probably in the coming up sessions, we'll start you with the headphones, and we ask you to take all your headphones and sit in the room. Literally disconnect to confirm the connection of the systems without a need. Those of you who, in a way, you already know the connections, your soul does, and you connect. We've seen this in some instances prior to teachings where we open the system. We see how some of you just log in without us even opening the system. So it becomes part of this, you connect directly, and this is part of the future programs that you don't need us, you just come into the system when you need it. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. In our Q&A, we have 2 questions from George, who says, Mr. Keshe, in the last teaching, you spoke about how protective the cholesterol is regarding stroke and brain damage. You have also mentioned that by plasma feeding, the levels of cholesterol decreases very much. So in the case of plasma feeding, what protects you from stroke or brain damage if the cholesterol levels are very low?
You have to understand, we speak cholesterol as an energy pack, not the way you measure it in the fields of the body. It's totally 2 different things. And on the other hand, when you speak about cholesterol, this is a misconception in the world of what a common understanding. They tell you, don't eat too much fatty food because of its cholesterol is bad and whatever. And I was explaining this to knowledge seekers, and even in the past couple of days, or some new other knowledge seekers. We have cholesterols in vegetable. We have cholesterol in lentils. And when you take too much of one, you block the others to be operating and absorbing. And this is one of the main factors of what you see the doctors or the world of science tells you, you have a high cholesterol. If you have a high cholesterol, they tell you because of using this and this and that. Look at the cholesterol, which is the beneficial and not getting absorbed, increase the or consider the consumption of them. Our body is a composite body, and he has learned what it doesn't take from one, it takes to another from another source. And at the same time, the cells of our body have learned the same. If I don't get the what we call good cholesterol from the meat, I go from the vegetable side. And then you'll find out your body interacts very well with it. When they tell you don't eat this, don't eat that, don't do this, don't use butter, but you got to understand what I call actually the laws of Chinese eating. When you take natural goods, let's say like butter, it's made of the same protein as connection with our protein, and the body takes as much as it needs. If you eat 10 grams of butter, or 100 grams of butter, or a kilo of the butter, the body takes from the energy packs from it what it needs, and the rest goes out. When you use man-made products, let's say oils, cooking oils, and all sorts of synthetic oils, and combination of different, you actually don't get what your body needs, and you get the storage of, because there's too much of. And you got to learn in the process of what we call food. All cholesterols are not bad. You need cholesterol, otherwise you can't survive. But you have to understand why certain cholesterols create the condition you have. Look at the cholesterols, the good cholesterols, which you can gain from the others, which replace what you put in the wrong one, or at least by satisfying those, there is no room for them to be added to. This is one of the fundamental points in understanding when we speak to about the cholesterol. We're talking about energy of the cholesterol, because you're dealing with, yes, in a way, if you look at it, your amino acid is part of your cholesterol, and you collect the amino acid, and if it is always one time, it gets stored, you see yourself getting fat. So we need a diversity of cholesterol, and due not lack of understanding of it, we got this problem now with the world of wellness. Look into other ways of the spectrum of cholesterol energies, and then you find out the body will balance itself out. And then look at different ways you absorb protein, which those proteins create the condition of what we call absorption of cholesterols through a different way. If you take a kilo of meat, beef, and if you take a kilo of green lentil, and if you take certain amount of avocado, you absorb the same amount of protein from all three, but different cholesterols. And this is the key. We are locked into commercialization and pricing to go for the cheapest and whatever goes in, where we can be selective in a way. You might pay slightly more, maybe a lot more in some cases, but you can select the process of your food intake. And in the coming time, we teach you how. You don't need to buy, God knows, one thing so many times, but you can reprocess it as energy fields. And this is what the future apps you will see on the Keshe Foundation structure. You press an app, you get an apple, it costs you 1 cent, but you can have as many apples as you like a day, because only the first one, maybe the second one is the maximum you need. Your body won't take anymore. You don't need to. But you don't need to go to the supermarket and buy an apple. The apple is there, the energy field is there, but you receive all the structures of it. You will see these apps coming up in the future with the Keshe Foundation. And then would you choose to go for the cholesterols of, you have a problem, you go for this. At the moment, as I said before, we were meat eaters, we became vegetarian, we became vegan, we became God knows fruitins and the rest of it. And all of it depends on what you can spend, what you can afford, and what you run your own farm. The new structure of the plasma feeding is very simple. Everybody gets the same as they need according to the need of their body, and you find out a lot of diseases will not exist. We will not be eating physical food, but in a way we receive the energy what we need for existence. And this is a prelude to understanding how your inner structure, what we call the central energy, the soul works, that it taps into the energy in the universe, what it needs, and then the soul and the soul of physicality in a way converts it to the physical food for man to live. So if you talk, when we talk about cholesterol, we're talking about energy and not the state of what the doctors tell you measuring fat. And then you work on energy, the body takes what it needs from it, and you find out these things don't exist. But look in the combination of cholesterol. Our body is used to all three. The what we call meat, the vegetables, and the minerals. And each one of them carry their own structure to satisfy, to fulfill a man in all dimensions. You take an iron tablet, actually, how come that solid becomes part of iron in your body? Because it goes in the conversion of energy and not matter state. You eat meat to get iron. Again, that iron is different than the iron, but scientists put it all, and the common man thinks the same. They're all the same, but they have different strength and different satisfy different energy needs of the body of the man. And when you put too much of one in, you get a problem of stacking it up. If you learn, even if you cook a meat, look into lentils and see, add some lentils into your meat soup or whatever. Add some vegetables which carry that kind of things you need. You'll find out that a lot of diseases don't exist. And you don't live a healthier life, you live a balanced life, which is different. As is in the historical books, this in one of our ancestors and living some, what do you call it, thousands of years ago, men lived average life of around 900 to 1,000 years. That was average life. And the reason for it is very simple. Due to matter gathering and hunting and whatever, men ate on average 1 meal every 3 days because there wasn't food there all the time, all to gather it. And as man progressed and brought this under control of farming and taming animals, the more we tamed, the more we controlled our food, the shorter our life has become. So 900 years is reduced to 90. And it was very common in very olden days to live around 800-900 years. And even one of the gods has been said to live 956 years or something in that region. But the philosophy is, once you eat a food, it needs time to digest, and then when you digest it, it needs time to consume. And then what you don't consume, you're short of, your glands in the body converts it to what it needed. Because it's in the raw state, as I explained before, it's a lymph, has no identity. It's going to become a bone or is it become a muscle tissue. And the world of science now understands what it meant to do this. If you fast 24 hours, you fast 48 hours, or you fast 72 hours, body goes through different rhythm and brings different factors to operate for survival. in average man, due to lack of resources, eat once every 3 days, sometimes 4 days. You don't feel the hunger, but you understand the process of what kicks in to take the waste out, and you do regular, what we call fasting of 24 or 48 hours, which don't think about the food, it's just look at the benefit of how life changes. These things all disappear, all your pains goes, because body needs that energy for a pain to survive. So it depletes the energy of the inflammation. It depletes the energy of whatever. Then if you go into the long-term fasting, what you call lumps and whatever you call it in the body, the energy is needed to survive. Sorry, you can't be a cancer lump, I need you. And then they say, oh, if you fast this, you can leave, get rid of this. It's just a logical system of transfer of energy. Body knows where it's stored, body knows where to go, body knows what to get. It's not easy. And if you even go through this system, you not necessarily lose weight, but your body comes a balanced weight. We've seen that with the Chinese team of people who went on 7 months, 10 months, 2 years, just drinking gas waters. At the beginning, they lost 20% of their weight, and then they studied because they take what they need and the body converts. So when you hear about diabetic, you hear about cholesterol, you hear about other things, understand the process. Then you will understand to be there. In what you call it, cholesterol, good cholesterol, before World War I, II was encouraged because the people were healthy. As I said, even with vitamin D, it got to the point there were nobody in the hospitals. People take regular amount of vitamin D. It was encouraged by the American administration to do before 1930s, and they found out the hospitals are empty. Literally, there were hardly ever accidents, emergency rooms, or hospitals, doctors had nothing to do. They were diddly do. And then they went against it to create job for the hospitals, and they said the vitamin D is the worst thing. But go in the history of the vitamin D and you see how, but how do you get vitamin D? Is it just from the sun? You can create vitamin D in your ganses. It's very easy. And then you look at your health. We have to do this. As we go into this, we are monitoring a lot of things in all these trials we do. And the test you are with us, we ask people different questions in the background without them knowing what we are looking for. When you write your testimonials, we read, we look at, yep, this, because you have this result, it means we have created this energy. You call it vitamin A, most probably. But deficiency of vitamin A has given the condition. Oh, but I can see better than before the test, I can write better than before. We look for these little things to you is nothing but to us, yes, tick another tick in the box, is correct. We targeted it, we achieved, we go. Look at in your diet. You don't need to eat bio, because I don't believe bios are actually what bio is supposed to be. They just label it that way. They give you bio food and then they cover it with, God knows, washing it with the worst thing you can put on top of it. It's just has become another structure in, what do you call it, food in a man. It's just like we consume it every day. Look at the bananas, look at the way they're marketed, look at the way they come and how chemically they're covered, and then you get what you call bio bananas, and then you look at them and see if it is actually bio. If you train yourself, you educate yourself, you know if they're fooling you in the supermarket. And then you understand what you need from it, and very soon, in a matter of very short time, you'll see the marketing of the plasma food, which solves a lot of this problem, because in space I can't have your cholesterol in your body and the rest of it. And then your life expands, goes, the less the body needs to fight to survive, the longer it lives. And then you have a disease of emotion. You have to understand how you create that emotion with yourself, which brings you your demise. Any other question?
George has a second question in the Q&A about plasma butterflies. What is the recommended distance between two different size butterflies? For example, in a 10 by 4 meters building with concrete walls that is divided into small rooms with dry plaster walls, could I hang the butterflies at 10-meter between them, or I have to put one on each plaster wall?
Depends what you need. It's like the paintings. What do you expect from it? And one of the ways to have a benefit of these butterflies, you have to understand, we put things in the market and then you buy it, but you have to understand how you can use it. When you have a butterfly, when you buy one of these butterflies, okay, when you buy a butterfly, you have a wall here, you have a wall here, and you put a butterfly here, yeah? And then you put another butterfly there. One is 10 centimeter, one is 18 centimeter, whatever they are. But what is the condition of the house? Do you have an aggressive family? Do you have a problem in interacting with each other? Just put a very simple, very, very simple, a bottle of magnesium in the front. And you see how the mood of the house changes. The reason being, most of us have a threshold of pain. And most of us, especially we pass 35, 40 years old, this threshold pain is very low, especially with women. Exists in men as well, to a large extent. How do you know a house is in chaos emotionally? For me, it takes 5 minutes to assess. Actually, less than within a few seconds. You have a household, even in the 30s, 40s. The woman tells you, I get a lot of cramps. Getting cramps is not just when it manifests itself. There is a cramp which is below threshold of feeling, but it's there. It's subconsciously is there. So this takes energy. The woman is always on the edge. When you get a cramp, what happens? You go into a physical pain. But in the household, now you reach 30, 35, you go through your menopause. You are a man who does not use so much magnesium. Your threshold is gone. What do they tell you the minute you have a cramp? Take magnesium. Because you put the vitamins in there, you diminish that, or you feed the devil, which is subsiding, is there. So what you need, you put the magnesium in the house, you take that, body receives what it needs, the cup is not full all the time, that it needs one drop to become a anger, because I can't handle any more of it, and it changes. The household changes. And why the older people are very sharp, a lot of them, especially who are busy with things. Why? Because there's a conflict in the house. Just, especially you have women around the house, plant it in. Put just magnesium around the house. Ganses of it. They're top. There no, the cup is not always full. The last drop brings the anger and shouting and the rest. Then when that goes, that lack of magnesium creates inflammation because something else has to cover it that is there. And then you have a cycle of a lot of pain goes, more mobility. When you increase the calcium, you create a condition of pain. And magnesium and calcium are connected. When you don't have enough, calcium has to cover. Calcium brings solidification, then it brings inflammation and the rest of it. You buy these butterflies. Understand, these butterflies were originally put in the Keshe Foundation website for absorbing the fields and the radiations and everything else which we do. We have shown it works. But you can use it in a different way as your knowledge is complete. Produce, if you don't have, buy from Keshe Foundation bottles of magnesium and just leave the bottles in a glass, not in a plastic, around the house, the sealable containers, and top it up, the water up. And if you leave it open, you see it changes quite a lot. You're using a lot of it disappearing, means somebody is eating it in the house. Is it the cat? Is it the wife? Is it the husband? Put it in your bedroom. How many of you, we are a bunch of adults, when you're in a process of loving each other, you suddenly get a cramp? Leave magnesium around the bedroom. Feed the devil, that it doesn't become a devil. Then you understand. Don't put it all in one height, because magnesium in different height of the house has different effects. Put it at a lower level, at a high level, and just you sort 90% of the problems in one part of the structure. We did that in a family where husband and wife at each other's throat. They could not, it was a fight all the time. I was told after a few months, a lot of magnesium is used, but there's no discussion in the house. Become very lovely. They understand each other. Yes, took the mark, but you don't understand. We know what we done. Hormonal ignited magnesium shortage or calcium replacement to cover the magnesium conversion is one of the biggest problems in the families. And it can be done very easily. And when you use this, what we call butterflies with these, it has a totally different effect. You don't need to spend time with anything else. Use these butterflies in a specific way around the house, not just for absorbing your G5s and the rest of it, but creating an atmosphere of peace at home. We have hidden the technology in so many ways, but what you call is you who have with the knowledge have to understand how to use it. Get the magnesium water from the Ganses, add it with the water from the Zidane, add it with the water from CO2, add it with the water from CO, and wash the floor of the house. Clean your windows with it. Come back to me in 4 weeks' time and tell me how the house has changed. Understand what you do. And every time you use these, you use the water, but put a drop of amino acid in the water of the what the gases you use, which connects with you directly. Or barefoot in the house when you washed it. Your partner will tell you, you changed. You tell him you changed too. But the hidden secret is in that water you put on the floor. If you want to do it, wash the window. You have created a field, motion, circulation. Try not to stick to what you did. Understand the technology and use it. You feed the shortage. When there is no shortage, there is no aggravation. And it doesn't need to pinch from somewhere else to do it. Any other question?
We had a relevant question from Kurt in German, who translated, says, "Hello, Mr. Keshe. Could you also neutralize virus fields in a bathroom with the soaps? I've heard so many good things about the soaps. Thank you."
Yes, yes. But not only the bathroom is your body too. We're actually sold out of the soap. I heard yesterday, put orders in, and people start seeing the effects of it. These soaps you carry with you. This is the beauty of the soaps. When you use these gases, the ones we put in, is not, as I said, thinking a couple of people put in, is totally different. You carry it with you around the house, you carry it around in the car, and gradually as you have more and more of it, the whole thing goes. And this gives a condition of change in fields you receive. It changes the emotion. We work with the fields, we don't work with the matter state, but we have to hide in the matter state for it to get it. Any other?
Okay, we have a question from Alfred in the Q&A. He says, "Thank you for these fundamental teachings. My question is about the workshop number 510 from November a year ago. You revealed that the war on Gaza was also about oil and gas there. Is that still the case, and why has this aspect not yet become apparent in what is going on today? Do the people from Gaza understand this? They are rich beyond imagination, and instead they have to beg and be dependent on the mercy of the rest of the world. Thank you for elevating the planet Earth."
This knowledge is known internationally, but nobody gave them the capital because the Jewish lobby is too strong. And as you heard in past 24 hours, 48 hours, Gaza is going to be the, what do you call it, the paradise.
Riviera was the word.
Riviera of the world, because the man is a businessman, is in the hotel business, understands you have sunny beaches and you can make a lot of money out of it. We sell the best parts to the Americans and the Jews, and the Palestinians live in the background, but they have a job to work in the restaurants as the waiters. The leopard never changes spot. If you've been to, I'll tell you what's going to happen in a way if you understand it, because this is actually happening now. As a lot of you know, Bahamas is where everybody wishes to go on holiday. Bahamas used to be my playground for years. What you see as Atlantis Hotel used to be a small operation, 2, 3 hotels, and then it became a 7-story building, and then they bought the rest of the Paradise Island, and then became part of what it is now. You have it in China, in Sanya, they have one of their operations, you have one in Dubai, and the rest of it. But originally this operation during 1970s and 80s and 90s, where I used to spend a lot of time, was a very slow, what do you call it, a small operation, Atlantis Hotels. And being in the island so much, going to this resort I used to spend a lot of time there. You get bored. You want to see the rest of Ireland. There's a small bridge, used to be a small bridge, which is used to connect the Paradise Island to the Nassau. One Christmas, I decided with my family we go shopping in the what do you call it, indigenous part. When you go there, it's absolute poverty, and every day huge ships come in. 7,000-10,000 people get out, go to the Atlantic. It's a small shopping area in the front, which is controlled by mafias. They don't see the rest of the island. The island dies of poverty. Locals are not allowed to come to this part because then they get all sorts of problems. At the front, you see Nassau, Atlantis Hotel, and the other hotels in the area. And then in the back, the people who run this live in absolute poverty. And this is what's going to happen to Gaza. It'll be Riviera for organizations who have these things, very much like what we call a gambling area of the United States, where the Red Indians gave their land and they live in the poverty outside. It became part of their structure. We'll see the same in Gaza, if not worse. And when they're there, the rest of the things come in. Trump has seen money on the beaches of, and then in that way, they have no contact with outside. They control all the beaches and they control everything else. And that's why he says put them in Sanya Desert, or put them to Egypt to go there, because this we're going to explore. I'm a businessman, I'm a hotel businessman, I planned it. Don't forget, he's received $2 billion investment, the biggest hotel ever in the world to be built in Saudi Arabia. And that's why, as a thanks, they're spending $1 trillion investment cooperation between America and the United States. This is a public knowledge. You have to connect the A's to B's to see where the knowledge sits. Yes, he says selected areas. He doesn't say the whole of Palestine. The back, if once they open it, is American territory, the oil is ours. But don't forget, Keshe Foundation in a coming time will rock the energy world on instruction of President Trump. In a coming time, you will not pay a cent for a gallon of petrol or diesel, because it's the structure it is. Because as I told you, the wars are finished. The religious wars are coming to an end. The only way is left is demolishing the survival of man on classing of the man. And the time of the British and what we call canon policy is over. And you will see it, the British government is literally dissolving from inside both monarchy and the government side. The time when you use the cannons to frighten time is over. You know the canon policy, I'm sure all of you know what it means. If for those of you youngsters who don't know, the British, when they wanted to frighten the Indians and the others, which they opposed them, they didn't put them on a firing squad. They tied their body in front of the cannon and they fired the cannon. And that explosion of the blood coming from the cannon direct brought fear to men. And that's how they ruled. And because you needed food, nobody could survive. Read about the cannon policy of the British in their colonies, and how many hundreds of people, thousands of people were put right in front of the cannon. They actually tied them to the cannon and fired it. People had to do it because they had something to need to eat to survive. And this should be a policy of using technology, especially what we call plasma technology, to feed them and not to kill them. And it changes a lot of things. Something which had a lot of value soon will have no value as technology develops and progresses. And one of the best things which we see, especially the whole world plans and does on the American structure, once they demolish the American, what we call teaching institutes, as is the plan by Trump, you will see emergence of the other ways of teaching and science, and opens up the door for new technologies. But don't be so happy. Gaza is going to be, the oil is still there. Now they found out a way to claim it because it's our country. Colonization by force through American state has started, and you'll see it. They go for Canada, they go for Greenland, now Gaza. Next we claim another country, next we claim another country because we can. And we see it on the card. As I said to a friend of mine yesterday, Palestine become the 52nd state of the United States. They're used to it. You have Hawaii in the middle of the oceans, and you have and the other ones over the other side, and you have Alaska, which is no connection to you. You think Palestine is too far?
What if all the countries of the world join the U.S.?
We call it UN.
It would be one nation then.
Yeah, we call it UN, don't we?
Well, in a way, but that's all separate nations still, though.
Where is the UN? It's in US. It's all the same, isn't it? The policy which is now coming out of this administration is, if you heard about past 24 hours, we even talk to the Iranians. They are rich. They have everything else. As long as it's peaceful, we talk. As I said, and the communication goes right across. You will not be surprised if, as I said before, opening of the embassies or communication between Iran and America this year is on the card. The same will go with Russia. You will see Putin. You see the criminal court has put a ban as much as the Putin has on Netanyahu. Netanyahu was there 2 days ago. Putin will be there in a couple of weeks, and who cares about the criminal court? American does it, so we do it. And this is the process, the same with China. It's if the resources in military are spent inwards on the nations, there'll be so much surplus that they'll spend it on other nations. And it's the job of the Keshe Foundation, new technologies, not just ours, to support this. And we're entering this in a very big way, very big way. We have set up the what you call business structure for it, the financial structure for it, the scientific structure for it, and it just needs to be one switch. And that switch has been turned on. Independent of any nation. Independent of any nation. We don't take support from no Iranian government, we take no support from no American government, we take no support from no government. Stay on the strength of the technology and the things we structured. You soon understand why we introduced what you call it, the cash coins. How we introduced the structure of market, how we introduced the introduction of Universal Council. Everything is set up. And the button has been pushed, and you watch. Any other question?
Okay, Trevor says in the Q&A, I searched all the workshops and I can't find any reference to this subject spoken about before. Is the Oasis unit the Ark of the Covenant? And one more question, was the Ark of the Covenant left for Moses to find by Mithra, or what was its origin?
Ark of Covenant is the source of energy and knowledge. That's all it is. Man has made boxes and things, and the sizes given by Moses has to be, is all a gimmick. Your covenant is with your Creator, and the only thing Creator has is His knowledge and His love. And that's the art. Forget about all the rest of it. And the love of the Creator has only shown to Mitra because you have one lover. So you have to understand how the knowledge has been riddled with things and covered with things. You see the box, if you read Moses gave the size of the box needs to be. It actually fits a coffin in a different shape. So don't look at the Ark of Covenant as your covenants with your Creator, nobody else. And understanding that is that there is nothing but the love of Creator to man or any other creatures in the world, what is created from Him. And that, to understand it, needs the knowledge. And that's the Ark, the knowledge of creation. Through the love of the Creator, and there's nothing else. You can put any name you like. And you cannot love if it doesn't exist. How do you know you love when you don't have somebody to love? Is it a dog, a woman, a cat, a piece of furniture? And the love of Creator, we call it Mitra. Wisdom is a good thing. Materialistic wisdom is a worst thing for man. Because you change everything to fit physicality. But it's the emotion of the love and the emotion of the knowledge. What do you do with it? That's the true Ark. Forget about the boxes and whatever else. If you think of it, man has not changed much for those who think are God and people who are on the top. I was listening some time ago. As you know, pharaohs were put into grave or into the pyramids with all their, some of them the soldiers, or Chinese with imitation of the soldiers, and they took all the gold and God knows with them into their coffins. Nothing has changed for those who know that. Queen of England died a couple of years ago, and see what she took in the grave with her. Jewels, necklaces. Just read. Nothing has changed. Intelligence of man on the top is as ignorant as was 6,000 years ago. Different explanations, but the same reason. I take with me. I might need it in another world. Queen of England took 3 pieces with her. And go and see what it is. Even the jewel, the crown. Where is she going to put it on her head on the soul? Ignorance is a bliss. And when you don't have that bliss, God help you. You're still living the old ages. The higher you are, the worse it gets. Any other question?
Question from Malcolm in the YouTube says, Mr. Keshe, you described the new MAGRAV systems as mini satellites to the main reactor. How different is the cosmic ray balls to the MAGRAV systems and the uses of both?
Each one has its own specific ways of doing it. They are put in for specific reasons. These, the ones we explained today, is for oneself. Is for you with yourself. Is the twin structure built that way. But up to now you were ignorant of, or we denied our soul, and then we denied our physicality, and then we denied our emotion. This new set brings you all to reality, to know how to connect and how to be. You feel it when you use it, you understand it. It's a big difference. And the others are communication bundles. This is communication to yourself, and then if we change it, we can connect it to our system. But this at the moment is the way it is. It's not connected to, it's just between you. It's a twin system with you. Any other question? Are we there? Shall we call it a day, or you still have any more questions?
Well, there's a couple of more, but if you want to...
No, carry on. Let's close it.
From Juxin in the YouTube, what would be a MagGrav unit with the balls in the middle rotating?
Many have tried it. Many have tried it. Depends what you do with it. It's not something which hasn't been done. No, we made one ourselves. Depends how you do what you do, how you make it, what you use to make it.
There's a comment, I think you need to test it.
A lot of people have tested it. We tested it, and if you go back to the time of the Samsano, the guy who tried to kill me, poison me, as a student, in collaboration with my ex, we found out later on, he was a ceramic maker. And we made ceramic rotating systems, and we tested it. And we still have 3 or 4 of these ceramic systems. They've been put out of commission because we found out they've used poisons in them. And the I know knowledge have used ping pong balls and everything else with it. But as I said, this knowledge is open. As it was in the beginning, in the intro, independent investigation, test it and tell us. But make sure you use the right thing, because you're dealing with fields and energies. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have a question from Jefferson Modesto from Brazil, who says, thank you very much for being here with us. When you taught us about the 5 cups, you said that we have the following configurations from top to bottom. 1, soul. 2, soul of physicality. 3, physicality. 4, inertia. 5, gravity. My question is it necessary to build the entire structure of the 5 cups to attain each of these energy levels, or can we obtain each of these levels separately by simply assembling the cup relative to the level we want? For example, if we only want the GANs of inertia or gravity, can we assemble only each of these respective cups?
You can do anything you like. Try it. Understand it. What it does. It'll be interesting if you take the solar physicality and the physicality away from the structure of the 5 and just put soul on the top and see what physicality the system gives you. Because it has to make itself manifest. It's the creation of the soul. But you have to know what you put in that. So actually, you made a material which makes the soul or the condition for it. Very interesting. Any other?
Okay, we have a hand up here with Azar. Go ahead, Azar.
Oh, she woke up.
No, good morning.
Good morning,
Yes,
Alhajan. How are you?
good, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Nick. I have a question from this teaching and a couple of questions from workshop 28 that I didn't know the answer myself. The question from today's teaching, when we look at the electron, proton, and neutron, and we look at the viruses, and we look at the human body, and then we look at everything created, like when you say, man, I create the man in image myself. So if you look at the sciences we study, like physics, chemistry, biology, either in high school or university or later on, because I know I dissected the body, whole body, I know what I'm talking about, and I look at the physicality of the body when you go into the, under the microscope and look at the histology of it and everything else. So the body, everything that we study is applicable to the body. So you can see the body is and human is not intelligent, but the body is intelligent if we allow it to work itself out. So when we look at the viruses entering the body, why is it that the body can fight the bacteria by itself? Because on a daily basis, we bombard with so many different things, but the intelligence of the body constantly is defending us. Otherwise, if it wasn't available, we would be dead on the first day. So what makes it different in terms of the molecular and atomic level between the virus and the body, that the body cannot recognize and empty the energy of virus or work in terms of the neutron, proton, and electron? What's the barrier here?
There is no barrier. I've said many times before, a virus is a food from the space, and the food is what we eat is the food from the planet. When you eat from the planet, the interaction between the food of the planet, which are connected through amino acid, in their interaction sometimes they don't match, and we call it the bacteria. In the world of virus, we see it as temperature and interaction with what we call the energy side of the body of the man, which when it lowers enough, it manifests itself in a physical dimension, what we call the shaking and whatever else together with the virus. But with the bacteria, because it's amino acid based, it manifests itself in the matter state. You see it like a pus or whatever you see. That's the only difference. One has not converted into matter state, but due to calcium based, or what you call dimension of the similar fields or similar state of energy, you have the inertia of the conversion and you see the matter state of it.
Mr. Keshe, so once we start to be able to get the soul out of our skull, soul takes over, and we can release the soul back and forth between physicality and non-physicality, we're also able to deal with the viruses. It's going to be easy.
The energy balance deals with it, interacts with it. The spacing it, we call magnetic positioning in the field strength. Yes, it does, the body does automatically, and it's not something we don't understand. We understand so much more of it.
Okay. And the question I have from Knowledge Workshop 28 is, you talk about the energy field when you make gases in our reactors. Actually, the energy that is accessible is not in the gas itself, it's between the container, if we can utilize it. And then you talk about how if you have an electric car, or it doesn't matter if you have a car which has a battery, if you use the gases in the car, your battery can go for unlimited. And also you can, even if you have an electric car, you can use the gas to run your car without even charging it, because in the United States, they started to make this pump station for the electric cars, which cost billions of dollars. But if you use the gas, we can run with it. So how do we do it? Do we use it, one way of it is use it on the paint on the car?
No, it's a different technology. It's totally different technology.
So it's not that it's not done simply just put it.
No. Put it this way. We have invested huge amount of time in development. Huge amount of time. And a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge had to be taught to the knowledge seekers to be able to bring this into work. And I'm sure in a very short time, you will see that initially the electric cars will become obsolete, and then behind it the new plasma cars will come into operation, which will bring the changes. Just as they say in English, watch this space. Cannot talk much about it, but in a way, you have to understand the conversion of the energy. That's a problem. And we have not understood. I know a lot of knowledge seekers groups are working on it, finding a plasma to make electric power and the rest of it. And it's not done that way. You have to understand conversion of energy.
Okay, so the next thing you talk about in workshop 28, it was computer. Like if you know how to use the nano layer, when you talk about 65 gigabytes and this and that, you said with the nano, because I remember one time Dr. Varapur, God bless his soul, we put a piece of copper in one of those, in a laboratory for dental. We have this unit that you put to bake the crown. So we put the piece of copper in it to nano coat it, and the heat is very high, 600 and above. So once we open it, the whole copper was black, but it was powder. And actually, at that point, you told me if somebody knows about this about computer, you can make computer with this that have trillions of gigabytes. You don't need
this computer working is now in its infancy on the test.
Okay.
The computer which works in this manner in its infancy now is literally on the laboratory test. It's been built.
So it has trillion of memory.
You can put in all the memories of the universe. Our knowledge seekers have to understand the knowledge step by step. But the first plasma, what you call memory bank, computers you call it, with emotion and with soul, is actually been built. And it's going through its test. Very recently, I explained that before, we run a test with such a system. And I explained this to the officials, and do you know what the officials they say? Mr. Keshe speaks about magic. What do you call it? What's the word for it? Or the Urdu, and doing black magic. I explained to them that the system in front of you, because what happened initially when they run the system, the first time it worked, it was perfect. The second time, they brought the guy who wanted to steal the technology. The system wouldn't show itself. It wouldn't work. He left. They came back and they tried the system again because their intention was good. The system worked. And then they brought another team of 3 or 4 people just to see it working, and it wouldn't work. I said to them, these people, then we found out I was correct in every aspect. The groups and the guys were there to steal the technology, and the system wouldn't show itself. I told them the system has a soul, has an emotion. He understands his work, who's there to use the technology to harm, and it wouldn't show itself. And they said, yes, because when we are there, it works. When they come, it doesn't work. How come 5 minutes before it's there, but it doesn't? And then when they force it, it will destroy itself. And this is the way the systems work. If you understand the work of plasma, they have emotion, they have connection. And in the near future, this will be part of the structure of the work. Very soon, we'll teach you how to make gases without actually any material. Because when you do that, your material is a space level, is not a matter state, gravitational field strength of the planet Earth. You create universal materials. This is a problem with the world of science. If you understand the explanation, then you understand the gravity of the misguided information. We see calcium as a piece of, what do you call it? Let's say iron, as a piece of metal in front of us. And then they tell us there's iron in our blood. And then we have iron in vegetables. It's the same when our cosmologists look into space and they say, oh, this planet has this and this and that. In a matter state conformation, you get it, but in a real state, at a point and place and position, does not have such a physical manifestation. You can't go into the blood and pick up a piece of iron. It's there as an energy pack. When it opens up to the atmospheric condition according to its energy level, they say, oh, this is iron, this is calcium. You introduce the blood into the inertial capacity of the earth, so you get the material. And this is what our scientists have not understood, doctors have not. They don't even have a clue, because they've been told, follow what we tell you. If you put the same gravitational magnetic field of the blood in the same condition, it'll be the same. You won't see iron, you won't measure iron in the test system. You bring it out, it's exactly the same as the plasma upper atmosphere is there. When you bring it to the inertia of the earth, it shows us copper, zinc, or whatever. And this is what the world of science had not understood. In the universe, we observe plasma energy. In the inertial state, we observe the matter state, but even the plasma energy has its own gravitational magnetic. When you understand that, the game of creation is very simple. Because inertia came from it. You just give it matching. And this is what is not understood. It's like, as I said, you're a dentist. Japanese now, 3 Japanese scientists have made a protein discovery that allows you to make all your teeth. You don't need to do anything. The tooth just grows and grows. But as I said, the tooth has to have a line of nerves and blood that it conveys the emotion of the man. So let's see what they do. It's amazing what these 3 Japanese scientists have done. But they can't stop your teeth growing because they haven't found the anti-system of it. So like sharks, you keep on renewing your teeth continuously once they use it. Yeah, you're a dentist. Have you seen it? Have you seen this research?
No, I haven't seen it, but if it goes forever, it's going to become very loud.
It's like, the sharks, one falls, the other one is reproduced. They haven't found a way to stop the next cycle growing. It's a beautiful research. It's done a lot of hard work. Your tooth can grow. It's 3 of them together. They've done this work.
I will look for it. Thank
I
you.
will look for it. You read. It's amazing papers, research paper.
Mr. Keshe, when is technology, because your technology that you brought for the people, when is it time for you to bring it out? Because
2025.
okay, because
This year is the time to rock the world.
Okay, because I'm at the end of my rope, and I just think this knowledge exists, and so many
You
people
are living in paradise, and you wake up, you're retired, you don't do anything.
No, it's not.
It's the time to enjoy. You worked all your life to be retired. Now you're retired, enjoy it.
Yeah, but when you see other people, like when President Trump and Netanyahu were talking in the White House, I was just like seeing, just like I was beside myself, because I couldn't believe the way they're talking about the land, like as if just these people don't exist.
I tell you something. I sent a message to Netanyahu very recently, and through my connections in the Jewish community, and we put it openly to it. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. What is good for a female duck is good for the male duck. As the technology develops, within a very short time, as we open access to a planetary system, we propose that all the Jewish people, they're fighting for a small land, we give them a planet. We call it the Jewish planet. And we provide them with all their needs, that they don't suffer. And what I say, please move yourself. They talk about peace. We talk about planet. We have the knowledge, we have the technology. We can give the moon to the Jews and let them go. Or any other race which they think they are better than the others. The time has come to exile this race out of this planet, and the beginning has started. They didn't learn, and they changed it. You see, what is interesting is they say 6 million Jews died. Half of the videos we see of the Jews in things in Second World War were taken months and months after, and some of them are Russian and German soldiers. Secondly, 18 million and more died of the Russian side. First World War in Iran, 15 million people died because the British brought hunger. No people can get food. People literally died on the street of hunger. 15 million. 2.5 times more than supposedly the Jews. What happened? Hidden in the history. How many Europeans died? More than supposedly the Jews. If you know why Hitler went against the Jews, was very easy. He went to Berlin. All the money laundering or money renting was done by the Jews. They controlled, so he wanted to get rid of them. And then all the other side of the funny work was done by the Jews, which was prostitution and all the pedophiles, all the homosexuality. He got rid of the two, and he made himself the biggest enemy. And then they made it a history. So we give the bank to them, and we give them all the gold, and we send them to the planet they're happy to live in. Listen to what happened to Federal Bank. The head of the Federal Bank said that Trump is going to change you. He said he has no power. We are a private company. We got nothing to do with the government, that he has power over us, which means we run your country. Federal Bank makes $36 million a day on interest only, producing paperwork for the American government. It's a lucrative job, and it's owned by the Jews. We give them their own bank. Looking for a planet for them to send them to enjoy themselves. even though I'll miss some of my cousins.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. You know what the good thing about it? We teach them to travel with soul. If any of them has a pure soul to be able to do, they'll come back to Earth, but I don't think none of them will make it. That's the unfortunate thing about it. Any other question?
Okay, let me see here.
That made you laugh, doesn't it?
Well, it's a controversial thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. The point is the technology, and you have to understand, there's a lot of research, a lot of work is done by many, many organizations. And once this technology comes in public in the next few weeks and months, they'll link everything together because we have the mosaic of knowledge which is sitting there and it was depressed, suppressed, and now all come together and just go like a ball of fire. And this is the, what do you call it? Part of the structure. We reached the point of world peace, and now money making becomes bigger because of the structure, and we have to take that part out. Then there will be no more. We have to take the weapon technology out of the weapon, and the only way you take weapon technology out of weapon is that you create a condition of structure which has emotion, and it cannot do any harm. And then you'll see the weapon technology. All the latest weapons are obsolete. We show that in past few days, as I said before, how chips will not work. And we have shown even through accident, people cannot be damaged, harmed. So proof of concept is we physically have the things. It's been done. So we see what the next step is. Any other question, or shall we call it a day?
Well, we have a couple more, but we always have a couple more, and they can
Well,
be.
so just take two and then we go.
Okay. From Jefferson Rodriguez, also from Brazil, the other Jefferson. In the direction of today's teaching, could you please explain a bit about the spherical torus field forces, PM ticks, inside the neutrons, or the initial fundamental plasma, and how can we interact with these fields, since this central and transition energy zones region does not create gravitational pull?
You can feed a universe with a neutron, with all the energies in it. One single neutron. But you have to understand how and at which field the strength. And in a way, this is the way the creator works, and the world of creation works on it. And fundamentally, if you want the bigger explanation of it, is once you tap into the universal energy means to every single fields in the universe, which we all know came from one point in one neutron, that neutron becomes a black hole, or the absorber of the fields and the feeder of the whole. So this is why our soul is that neutron, and it can feed the physicality. The energy, the space of our central energy force, what you call the soul of the man, is a pinpoint in totality. But it is connected to every field in the universe, and it can feed every single cell body of the man according to his need, as they need. Then you understand how easy it is to work with understanding the work of the plasma. What condition of field do you create to absorb which field? This is the secret. But you have to turn the same field upside down against itself to create that field. Any other question?
Stephen had asked in a similar vein earlier in the YouTube, would the wings of an arc reactor be like the holder of the ground, creating the containment field to shelter the scalar plasmoid sphere or event in a way? An example of open containment. And then he went on, could a group of arc reactors be used to create an atmosphere on the outside?
What is the arc reactor?
Well, I think he was talking probably about the Ark of the Covenant as a reactor. He talks about the wings of an arc reactor, so assuming that's what he's talking about.
Oh, let's not assume we don't know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, shall we call it a day? It's nearly 12 o'clock.
Yes, sure.
Thank you very much for today. There's something which I should have made announcements. As we are structuring in a new development of the Keshe Foundation, its worldwide application and implication, as we set up the structure for Universal Council, a number of Universal Council members have become old and they reach the age of 60, and they serve during the 60 years they are there till 61. They to run the functionality of the operation of the what we call energy dimension, the Universal Council members, if you want to become, please consider and let your soul decide of any languages around the world, as these will be announced very soon internationally, and we expect the souls to serve. And if it's from the knowledge seekers who understand the technology with dimension of the soul, you can apply for to be added to and become a member of the Universal Council. The Earth Council is appointed by the Keshe Foundation on the grounds of true structure of the nationality, understanding the culture that there is no prejudice by physical dimension of the borders. And so if you feel your soul is there to serve humanity in expansion and the growth of it, just apply for it at the Keshe Foundation, or send the email to info@keshe.foundation, say I would like to be a member of the Universal Council. We receive this regularly, and now we going to expand this very rapidly due to what is to come and what is to be done. Thank you very much for today, and we'll meet you next week, which is a very funny day to have a teaching on the 13th next week, but it'll bring its own joy. Thank you very much, Rick, and hope we see you next week.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. For another Knowledge Seekers Workshop here, number 576 in the continuing weekly series. Today on Thursday, February 6, 2025. Our next public teaching workshop is the public meeting for testimonials. That's coming up on Monday, the following Monday, February 10th, and that starts at the 8 p.m. Central European Time. And if you have any testimonials or things that might have occurred to you through the plasma technology, that would be an excellent place to share it with the rest of the knowledge seekers of the world and record it for posterity. And again, that's at 8 p.m. on Monday the 10th. And then after that, on Tuesday, we have the usual One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that will start at the 4 p.m. Central European time slot. Okay, I think we are done for today. So thank you, everybody, for attending today's workshop. We'll see you again in the next public teaching. And also our background image today was from Jedi Simon. Thank you, Jedi, for that. I think I'm done. Okay, bye, everyone.